Hi, my name is Tommy Reyes, and I'm here with Antonio Martinez, and we are going to be talking about his upcoming project that he is working on with Pilsen Arts and Community House and Gallery 19 for his solo exhibition that he will be doing next year. So, first, let's introduce Antonio. Hi, Antonio. How are you today?
Good.
Good.
Thank you for having me. Give me the opportunity to speak about this exciting project. I'm looking forward to answering any questions that you may have, or to elaborate on why or what motivated me to take on this project.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting project. So let's first talk about it, and then, as you know, you're trying to get frontline workers that you're going to be photographing, and Pilsen Arts and Community House and Gallery 19 are going to help you connect with different workers here in Chicago because you are coming to Chicago to photograph them. So let's talk a little bit about what it is that you're hoping for this project and what is it so that people know.
Right. So let me just give you a little backstory of like how this idea came about. So upon actually before COVID, I was actually working on a project that involved image transfers and actually utilized glycerin alcohol, which is basically hand sanitizer. So there was a period where I was experimenting with this process, and I guess my work, I tend to always think about the medium matching the subject matter. So I was in a phase in which I was more preoccupied with the uh, Amer- the American landscape in the U.S. With the climate change. So I was focused on making images of forest fires and using this process. Um, but there then COVID had happened, and there definitely was a run on and a shortage of hand sanitizer. So I felt a little unethical if I was going to continue using this material for art that's addressed a totally important issue. Obviously, we're feeling it now and have been with climate change and very dangerous weather patterns in the U.S. But at that time, I didn't want to make use of that chemical. So as COVID proceeded, um, and I kind of took a halt, and I started actually sewing. I started sewing masks, um, because there was a previous project in which I was had some background in making quilts. So this was a good opportunity to actually brush up on my sewing skills. It was actually a photographer, Justina Baddock. She's out in Philadelphia, and she actually contacted me. And she had a family member who works out in the Navajo Nation in the hospital center, and she asked if I could make some masks for the community out there. So all last summer, a good part, I was just making masks and sent them out there. Then that's when it dawned upon me, like, hold on, like, there's something about the importance of the mask, the identity that's tied to it. Then I obviously the connection with the hand sanitizers. Like, well, what if I combine the image transfer technique with portraits of those essential workers, those in the front lines? And a lot of times, the medical professionals, they obviously are in the front line, but also there are those in the service industry that are also important, and in my opinion, undervalued. Um, so this is my way of trying to give a greater presence to frontline workers, and I'm looking forward to this opportunity to make portraits of those in the Chicago Pilsen area.
So, okay, so let's actually talk about the project. What is it that you're looking for, and what is it that you're trying to do?
I'm trying to bring attention and to celebrate, um, but also to um, show the, the toll that the pandemic has had on all of us, as well as the essential workers, frontline workers. So this process, I feel beautifully illustrates or actually captures that that essence. I have behind me a few examples, and I'm not sure if I can share screen. On my Instagram page, there are some behind the scenes of actually the process in the works. I'm sure you probably can provide a link to that Instagram page. Let me just quickly pull one. So this is a recent one. I'll zoom in to show you the details. So this originally was a photographed in the studio. This is my friend Scott Newland. He works in the physics department. So he's in and works in academia. He volunteered to serve as a model for me as I work out the kinks of this process. So the distress of the process, I believe speaks plainly and loudly about almost the physical and the inner psyche, the turmoil of enduring these tough times. So each transfer is unique. So that's just one, and this one has a totally different look. So all these are one of a kind transfers. They do involve some careful decision making in the process. The very first one I did is of myself. As you can see, there's actually one of my masks that I made, I'm wearing. So it's not your typical photograph. It's definitely more expressionistic. It definitely falls in line with, I guess, pictorialism, especially in this age of digital photography. As you know, you're very familiar with my work. I tend to manipulate the image, whether with my hands manually or through other chemical means. So this is kind of still falls in line with my journal aesthetic. I just felt this is a great way to, again, draw attention and to celebrate and to give some honor to those in the front line. I feel the invisible workers, the workers that it's their time to actually to pay some homage to them. Ideally, I would love to go out west and photograph farm workers, because they're definitely under the heat. They're enduring climate change as well as the pandemic. So that would, looking in the future, that would be an ideal, I guess, a travel adventure for myself to go out there and also give that community the required attention and celebration.
So that everyone can understand what the process is. So you're taking the photographs, you're printing them out digitally, and then you're manipulating them using hand sanitizer, or is that, or are you transferring them onto paper?
Yeah, let me see if I can share. I'm not sure if I can. No, I can't share a screen. So the process involves I photograph the participant, the subject. Typically, there's going to be artificial lighting and a very neutral background. And the subject has the choice to wear uniform. I did just recently photograph a medical doctor down here in Southern Illinois. He volunteered. He loved the subject. So he came in straight out of work with his scrubs, and he had a mask that's kind of like his personal mask, and he also had his work his medical mask, and we photographed both. From that point, I print the digital image onto a clear transparency substrate. So it's basically film. I can print 17 by 22. So it's a pretty large portrait. I think I'll probably maybe keep that size. I could go larger, and I may go larger. I have the capability of doing that with the camera I have. The camera is just a mirrorless Sony 42 megapixel camera, so I can print large. So once the image is on film transparency, I have printmaking paper, and I cover it with hand sanitizer. So there's a lot of just pumping the hand sanitizer of the dispenser. They actually use it. I have different ways of actually putting an even coating on both sides of the printmaking paper. And at that point, I carefully place the digital print that's on the film substrate. Then at that point, I applied pressure, either with a brayer. I bought a table-sized roller, so I can actually roll the paper in the film. Then at that point, I just peel back the film substrate. So what happens is the ink actually transfers to the printmaking paper, and the result is basically it's just transferring the image from one substrate, film transparency, to paper. You can have a very clean image. The only difference is going to be mirrored. But in my explorations, I found ways to manipulate the image to really conjure up or have a more evocative, emotional, I guess, quality in the image that I feel resonates with the kind of feelings associated with being isolated, being under quarantine, having your world kind of, I guess, put upside down. So these become more psychological portraits.
So, okay. I mean, so that's really great. So now my question then is, so as Pilsen Arts and Community House, we, we work with a lot of organizations, and we want to represent artists of color. And so now you're looking to make a connection to Pilsen and as well as to Chicago. And what is your hope for the project, for the portion for Chicago?
For Chicago, there's been a lot of times I've visited Pilsen, and you and I have had discussions where my background, I've never had that community. So every time I do visit you and spend my time in Pilsen, I feel, I don't know, it's cliche to say more at home, but because I never had that as a home, I feel more complete, because there's something about Pilsen that makes me feel more comfortable. And I see with the street murals as an example, there's this wonderful sense of community, homage to history, tradition. There's a lot of pride in how the community defines itself. And now I've been visiting Pilsen ever since the time I've known you, which is going back, I don't know, has it been 10 years or so? And I've seen Pilsen change and evolve over that period. Just having conversations with you, I feel like it's my time to actually really involve myself with the Mexican American or Mexican community, Latinx, Latino, Latina, Indigenous, however you, whatever term you define, that Pilsen is. I feel like this is opportunity for me to become more involved. For those that don't know me, my background is I was raised in Oklahoma throughout the 80s, and we were one of the very few Mexican American families. So I'm not fluent in Spanish. I don't have that strong traditional tie that I see in Pilsen. My parents are fluent. I mean, it's definitely a generational thing. You know, I'm obviously a product of my culture and my upbringing. And Pilsen, for me, is like the home that I wish I had, because I feel like it completes me. It completes that kind of the heritage that, for me, it was very cursory during my upbringing. Um, so for me, it's a way to reconnect, while at the same time using my abilities, my talents, my knowledge, my compassion, appreciation for such a community to lift up those that haven't been celebrated or honored. Not that I am some outsider here rescuing anyone. I actually want to be involved with the community. I feel like for too long I've been on the sidelines, just watching as an outsider. I actually want to be involved as an active participant.
So ultimately, are you hoping that these portraits create heroic figures, or is it that you're trying to bring to light the fact that, you know, janitors, fast food workers, Uber drivers, you know, DoorDash, these people, the people who had to work during the pandemic and put themselves in harm's way, are you hoping to show them as heroic, or are you trying to bring more to the table than that?
Bring humanity to them. They're not just, we are not just sacrificial. Like I've seen those memes, like what's the difference between essential? Do they mean essential, or do they mean sacrificial when you actually take a good look at the working conditions, or that the pay scale, the difference? It's a lovely symbolic gesture in how we talk about essential workers and frontline workers, but when you actually take a step back, or aerial view of the actual conditions, it's not enough. There's definitely more can be done. So this photo series just be a way to actually adding to the pressure of those who do have power and political sway, and for those who may not actually view essential workers, janitors, service industry as if their likeness, the likeness of such service workers, aren't commonly seen in gallery or museum settings. This is a way to actually elevate their position. You know that my wife and I, we started a small business in the middle of the pandemic. It was her idea. I've taken more of an active role, and so I'm working in the restaurant service industry, and I'm seeing the conditions, the stresses of everyone in the restaurant. The dishwasher is no more important than the head chef. I've had to step in and wash dishes multiple times during the summer because the industry is short-staffed. So in a way, this summer I've kind of understand the importance of the services industry. Not saying that my experience is equal to those that in which that is their sole job and occupation. I definitely have the privilege of working in academia and having a flexible schedule in which I can be an educator in the classroom, as well as try to start a small business and in my actually my available time, I'm washing dishes.
Mhm.
So I've learned to, during this experience, I've learned to be more sensitive and compassionate towards those that towards those in the service industry. I think we take for granted of the needs of those in such occupations. So to circle back to another series of work, I just had taken down the that series, botanical series. Um, that series is all about ecology.
Mhm.
All the plant specimens in each of those frames were collected within a smaller radius of one another.
Mhm.
So during the last summer, um, which was definitely um, characterized through the George Floyd um, murder.
Mhm.
Um, that started to give me some perspective about neighborhoods um, and neighbors. A neighborhood is defined by neighbors.
Mhm.
Um, a neighborhood is an ecology. A community is an ecology. There's not, if we lived in a world in which there only existed one plant, one species of the same plant, which is definitely impossible,
Mhm.
it'd be for a very boring world. Ecologies require diversity, and we need to celebrate that diversity. That's what that series is really about. Obviously, it's not kumbaya and like everyone's peace, love, and harmony, but the work is shows that kind of bittersweetness. All ecologies have death and life. There's definitely a pattern of such in each of those images. Um, so with this pandemic and pulling it back to the restaurant industry, going back to the dishwasher and chef, like there's an ecology in every workplace. And it's just unfortunate that some workers are treated as invisible or less than those who are revered for being the decision makers. It boils down to that kind of dualistic mindset. You have mind and you have body, and that's translated to those in the power position making decisions, then those decisions are passed on to body labor, the laborers. And there's obviously a difference of pay scale and such. And I feel when you can translate that to ethnic groups, there's one group is seen and understood as laborers, as body, and other groups are revered as being part of the mind, the decision makers. And I feel like this series is not directly addressing that, but enough to kind of up the ante, add pressure, um,
So
to
you're
give.
hoping to start a conversation then.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
you,
Like
you
ideally, Tommy, like I wish it. I mean, this is possible. I mean, the photo world is pretty small. If there was someone in Philadelphia or Austin, Texas, or LA, I show them the process and they have access to a similar community in Pilsen. It doesn't have to be me that makes these, it could be multiple
Mhm.
photographers. Then, I mean, that would be an actual kind of movement actually to draw more attention, to give voice, to give presence, to add pressure to those in power to see what it feels like to be an essential worker and to endure um, the pain, the tragedy, the, the hard, long, um, well, I guess, working hours.
Mhm.
Um,
And for no little pay, for little pay, very little benefits. I mean, and still having to get up every day to do this kind of work, putting themselves at risk every single day. You know, even as we've moved on with saying that, oh, we're on the tail end of a pandemic, we're not really. You know, people are still getting sick. People are still don't have access to this, to the proper health care. All of that, I mean, is important. So I see the importance of the project, which is really why we are really excited about partnering with you to do this. So let's actually talk about the event that we have planned. So you're coming to Chicago on August 16th, correct?
Correct.
And you will be there all day. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reaching out to other essential workers in the Pilsen area, as well as in the surrounding neighborhoods, to come and do what? What is it that you're asking them to do?
So it'd just be no more than 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I would bring in my own backdrop and lighting, and the participants, they can choose to come in their workwear,
Mm-hmm.
or, I mean, for me, what matters is the mask, choosing the mask. With Scott, he chose a mask that his sister made. So
Mm-hmm.
if you think about it, that's a very loving connection.
Right.
His sister made this mask that's actually protecting him and keeping him safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's something very poignant about that. So obviously there's masks that are work issued. I understand that maybe that's of value for the subject. Regardless, give some thought to the mask. Come as dressed in your regular attire, personal work attire. Really doesn't matter. I imagine, if this work, to fast forward, imagine the portraits on the wall in the gallery. A title card would be useful with a name, or if you want to be anonymous, that's fine, but would be useful as maybe the occupation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you and I can work out some details, like what type of information would be useful to learn, so we can actually put it on the title card to really kind of have like another level of understanding of who these people are. I think that's going to be very important.
Right.
Now, and I'll be paying using my, I don't know if you want to call it, it's this stimulus check,
Uh-huh.
the first one. As I said, I've I come from a relative place of privilege relative to those that are in the service industry. Um, so I've kind of earmarked that $600 specifically for this project, where I'd be paying each model $20. So I guess in a way it's kind of me, I don't know, I'm not stimulating the Pilsen economy, but I feel like I have a means and ways to actually give um, um, money for the time that someone that would want to
Mm-hmm.
participate. So less than 15 minutes, $20. Come as you are, wear a mask. I'll do the portrait, and then I'll take these images back to Southern Illinois and um, process them in my small studio office. If
Mm-hmm.
you on my Instagram, which is Antonio J Martinez, if you go through there, you're going to see some of the two examples, and I believe there's video of behind the scenes. You actually can see me in the process if my verbal description wasn't clear enough.
Yeah, and we'll post it on the Pilsen Arts and Community web social media, as well as Gallery 19s, so that way everyone has an opportunity to look at it to see if they want to participate in the project. I think that a great component of this for you will be actually talking to these workers. And I'm sure that in the process, they're going to want to share with you the hardship that they endured, because it's been hard for this community, and so it's important, I think, that you'll also be there to listen, as
Mhm.
well as you're working on this project, so that when it is in the gallery setting, you you'll be able to then convey that information. You'll be able to talk to them, talk to the patrons at the gallery, so that they understand how hard it was for these people for these workers, for them to do this kind of work, and never during a process where people all around them were getting sick.
Right.
So it's a really interesting project, and we're so excited that we're going to partner with you to find these workers so that you can work on this project, and then next year show that exhibition at the gallery so those workers can come back and see what you were doing, so that it all kind of comes together for them. So we're really excited to do that. So so we are going to be doing things where we'll be reaching out to people in the area, workers, laborers, and other people who might be interested in participating, who are in the Pilsen and surrounding neighborhood. But what's another way for them to reach out to you if they're not in this area and they do want to work on, because we're going to put it out on social media and everything, and hopefully it'll get shared and talked about. And how do you want people to contact you?
The best email would be Antonio J Martinez at Gmail. That would be the best. I would give my school account, but I'm afraid it would get, I get
would you
bombarded with students.
Would you also mind if they DM'd you on your Instagram if they are interested?
Sure,
so
absolutely.
It's easier for them. And I think that would be amazing. So when people come in, you're going to want them to bring their mask that they usually wear when they're at work. And is there anything else that you would want them to bring?
Trying to think. I guess we could brainstorm right now. Is there? I mean, I'm open for any suggestions. I'm pretty laid back. With the format is going to be pretty standard head and shoulder portraits. If someone wants to bring a prop, for lack of a better word, maybe it's something, a memento or something that's related to your experience. I mean, that is definitely within the bounds of this project. Tommy, as you were talking and explaining about the importance of hearing the stories, and obviously stories are what makes up humanity, and having empathy and developing compassion is definitely what's going to advance in us as a community. I'm trying to imagine, could this take the shape and form of a book, and book sale proceeds go directly to Pilsen? I mean, I'm not in this for the money.
Right.
This is definitely greater than that, because as you mentioned the importance of the story, I instantly went back to one of my earlier series 10 years ago when I embedded myself within a local group of mixed martial artists, aka cage fighters, down in Southern Illinois, where I trained with them for 2 years. So I learned their stories, which actually gave me greater insight and actually led to that body of work, the title of it, and also the aesthetic approach I made with it. So you're absolutely right. Learning the stories, becoming familiar with the stories of each of these individuals. I'll probably just have a simple little maybe questionnaire, because it's going to be a pretty busy day getting through a large lineup, which is fine. As long as I get back on the road, because I teach the next day in the afternoon. I think my class starts at 3. So as long as I can hit the road, head back to SIU, I should be fine.
Well, I think that the unintended consequences of this project, as I was thinking, as I was excited about you working on it, is that it's going to change you a little bit, because you're not used to encountering this type of worker.
No, I'm not.
And so being able to interact with them will be a changing moment for you as well, which I think is going to be really amazing, and see how that works. And the book, idea, or the series idea, um, is I think will just evolve as you continue um, encountering and talking and caring and understanding what it was like for these workers, and that is something that you'll take away from it, that will be changing for you. It would be life changing for you. I mean, so
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited about that as well, because I think that, um, as we've had our conversations and talked, you feel as sometimes that you're not part of that community. Uh, but as I've always said, you are, and it's just where you place yourself in that community. And this will help you understand how to place yourself within the Latin community of Pilsen, in any community, within Mexican culture, within Latin culture. So it'll be I think it's going to be a really interesting um, thing for you as well. I mean, have you thought about that as you're moving forward with this?
Yeah, it's there's definitely going to be an evolution of my identity or affinity, closeness to heritage, and um, I mean, there are things I'm not. There's ideas that I'm not, sorry, emotions I'm not proud of when I was in my formative years. One of my first jobs was a dishwasher at an Italian seafood restaurant, family owned, and I really didn't want to be a dishwasher because in Oklahoma, um, there's just negative stereotypes. And I did not want people to see me as a dishwasher because of the connections um, associated with it and someone of Mexican descent. Um, in in this restaurant, you can actually from the dining room actually see the sink, so people could get a clearer look of me washing dishes, and I did my best to always try to um, get out of eyesight.
Mhm.
And thinking back on that, it's like, man, like what a twisted mind, like how culture led up to this kind of shame of being a brown person washing dishes, like, and me being a brown person washing dishes but not wanting to be a brown person washing dishes, like it is it's terrible.
Right.
um and I'm on the verge, I'm not going to hold back tears right now, but it's despicable. I'm very shameful that I even had that mindset or even allowed culture to um get me to even process and understand and undervalue those that actually may have no choice but to take on those occupations. And here I was like running away from it at that time. And now, geez, that was more than 20 years ago. I'm coming back full circle to it. Um, the times I've had to step in and wash dishes for my friend that has given us opportunity to run a small business out of his restaurant, like there's no qualms about it. Like I have a greater sense of who I am, identity. I have no problem going over there doing the dishes and coming out of the kitchen and helping stack glasses. Don't care what people think or say.
Hmm.
Um, so I've definitely evolved, and I think this opportunity to be a little more connected with the Pilsen community will definitely help with this evolution. And it's not about me evolving, and I don't want to make this project about me because it's definitely about the community and the larger group. But I can't ignore the fact that this is going to impact me on the personal level too, though.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how that changes you, and see. We'll have to talk about it again after the project, and see after the photographing session, and you've had a chance to process your experience. I think it would be great to touch base and see how you felt it went, and then go from there. Because what's great about this project, and I'm super excited about, something that we've never done before, is we're going to be following you throughout the whole process. and touching base with you throughout the year as you work on it. And then we will be showing it at the gallery. So this will be something new for the gallery as well as we continue with our outreach with Pilsen Arts Community, you know, as we outreach to the community and we bring artwork that is both challenging and both confrontational a little, as well as empathetic, and opening up the view to the community so that they can see different artists, different points of view, different conversations. And so this is kind of the start of that. And so we're really excited to be working with you on this. So just so we'll recap, so the event will be on August 16th, and we will be there from 12 to 6 working on this project, and we will be reaching out through social media to other groups as well to have, as we are looking for, I believe we are looking for 25 people, correct? Is it 20 or 25? Somewhere around that number?
Yeah, I think that's the right number. Did you say August 16th or did you say 15th?
Let me see here. August, you're right, August 15th. That's right, August 15th.
I was going to say, man, I'm going to.
Yeah, August 16th is Monday and you're teaching that day. We're teaching on August 15th, which is the Sunday before you start back up at school. So yes, and so we're looking for 20 to 25 people to participate in this first wave of this exhibition, of this project, that it probably will go for a long time as you continue working on it.
Yeah, who knows? I may have to make multiple visits up to Pilsen. Anything can happen. Like I said, who knows? Maybe there's a doppelganger of me somewhere in another city and wants to do something. I don't know.
So yes. So and well, thank you again, Antonio. And we are gonna go ahead. Hold on one moment.